What the hell, man? What the actual hell?
I'm sorry. I thought you were yelling at me about my coffee.
No, I'm yelling at this episode.
Well,
what
there's
is
nothing
happening?
wrong with it.
Not a thing. In fact,
You liked it better than last week's.
this did what I wanted it to do. It redeemed last week's.
Good. I'm glad to hear that because you were really terribly upset about last week's, where I thought it was amazing.
I know. What's up, my know-it-alls? Welcome to the discussion after show for Doctor Who Season 2, if you're here in the UK, or if you're here in the USA, rather, not in the UK. That's on Disney+. It's the new Ncuti Gatwa's, who's spoilers.
He's
no longer the Doctor.
You need to put spoilers up all.
Huge, big spoilers.
We don't need them coming for us.
We do not need them, whoever them is, coming for us. And trust me, judging by some of the responses that I saw online, them is actually a very good, honest example. Honest answer. So, the RIP Doctor Who crowd are out in mass. And you know what? That's okay. Good for them. I'm glad they have something to watch. I'm glad they have something to get excited about, because guess what? Hate watch it if you want. The view still counts.
Watch it.
The view still counts. Here's the thing. I make no bones.
Did you get yelled at last week?
So no, I had a bunch of folks who did tell me correct, like say, oh, well, give it to this, give it to that. I had some folks who were like, it's been over forever, and that's fine. My feeling on last week's show, this week I meant what I said before the intro. This week absolutely did vindicate my feelings about last week. This filled in gaps. I still stand by, I think that I wouldn't have felt the way I felt if they had seeded some of these things better so that it wasn't so dependent on this week.
All right.
Because there's a lot of people like me who may have watched last week and jumped ship and like, screw this, and left. Versus I at least knew enough. I'm like, look, I'm this far to the finish line. I'm going to watch the last episode.
Oh, and you liked this season. Well, we both liked this season.
Loved this season.
Yeah.
This season felt like Russell RTD won for winning his first run. I'm down, man. And there are a lot of people who, big spoilers, if you haven't seen the episode, please watch the episode. Because we're spoiling, talking all over it. I do have a non-spoiler review though, so there is a non-spoiler review where I'd give my normal. That's where I get my normal, review points, and I talk a little bit about the actual. I give my critiques. I'm not here to critique. I'm here to talk to you, my wife, Mrs. Know-It-All, about this. So, what did you think of the season overall?
I really enjoyed it.
Same.
I really enjoyed it.
Let's talk specifically about that cartoon episode. I'm kidding.
I hate you so much right now.
That's the one episode she missed.
It's the only one I didn't see.
She's like, do I need to see that before we do our review? I was like, no. Everything you need to see, you saw in this. You're fine. That's why I was just kept messing with you.
No, I really liked it. Like, it held my attention. And I remember you were in it way before I was, and you made me watch it.
I'm glad.
When we were in Florida. Yeah. So
no, for sure.
And I'm glad I did.
I was not a fan of season 1. I thought season 1 was messy.
I don't think either of us were. It was just.
I liked.
It was meh.
I liked the specials because they had Donna and David Tennant.
Yes.
Okay. By Generation confused me, but I was willing to go with it. Then going into the season 1, I didn't understand Ruby. I didn't understand anything. I will say this era has been impacted by the fact that they only have so many episodes.
I believe it.
100%. I feel like we would have gotten closer, bonded more with everybody had we gotten full seasons.
Well, and I think you were on to something when you had said, had they had more episodes, the revelation of the Ronnie and who Mrs. Flood was.
Such that it is.
That would have... It would have been better.
It would have landed better.
Mm-hmm.
So... The one thing that did happen was between the introduction of the Rani, which I didn't know anything about who she was in the interstellar singing contest. I went back, I researched. Luckily, BBC put out a whole thing showing.
We watched some of that together.
Yes, and I finished it by myself, and it was. So I understood who she was, which is what made last week so much more confusing for me because it felt very much like they didn't jibe. One big thing I said last week. I didn't think we were going to get to see Omega. I still don't know that we saw Omega because I wanted to see the guy with the helmet and the whole bit. We see a big CGI monster.
That was some scary. Well, I did like his explanation of it though.
And the voice actor is the guy who's played the voice of Omega.
I think you told me that he was going to be doing that,
which is cool.
Yeah.
So at the very least, they kept the same voice, which I thought was
That's good.
Ronnie 2.0 getting eaten.
I mean, but Mrs. Flood was still alive.
Mrs. Flood's right. So
she's still alive.
Yeah. So we
assume she's still alive.
Yeah, she teleported away.
Yeah, but then, well, she's a Time Lord too, so never mind.
That's right.
I was gonna say, but he fixed all that. I
don't
didn't.
know.
Okay, so I probably will lean a lot more on this episode than probably going back. But I do want to say, I do want to talk about which one was my favorite.
Okay,
episode.
right on.
You're gonna laugh at me.
Go ahead.
So what? Go ahead with what?
What's your favorite episode?
It was the Interstellar.
I liked it too. I did. There were things.
I liked it because he got mad, and we got to see him get mad.
He showed anything resembling like a character. Like there was character development, which I thought was good.
I get that, but there's just some of those intense moments that you need the Doctor to express or emote even, and that is anger, or even when we see him sad a lot, or even happy. I mean, he does. To be fair, it's not just sad tears that he cried. It was happy tears too. But we always saw him happy, and if he was sad, we always saw him sad. But we never got to see him like angry. Yeah, and that was the first time that we saw him angry.
I agree with that. Yeah, I agree, and again, just having any kind of dimension to him really helped.
I feel like he was just reaching his stride, though.
The time hotel lady getting back. What'd you think of that? That was from the Christmas special.
Was that from the Christmas special?
Yes, that was the Christmas. Remember?
Oh, thank you for jogging my brain.
Yeah, it was a Christmas, and it's funny. So, if you go back and see my review, I didn't understand why there was this pause in the middle of the episode. They just stop. And we get to see the Doctor hang out with Chicky for a year or however long they're supposed to be hanging out. He lives in the hotel he's living in, and he works there at some point. And this is whole idea because he's trying to get to a certain point in time for whatever reason. He has to be a specific place. So I'm like, well, what is this, and why is this like what? And now a year later, practically, it pays off.
So you know exactly where it came from.
You know who she is.
Yeah.
See, so this is an example of why I felt like we needed more episodes. Because we had her, even once, and even though it stopped the momentum of that episode, because I'll be honest, I cared more about that chunk of the Christmas special than I cared about any other part of the Christmas special. So, because I was like, why show me this thing that's super interesting and never revisit it again? And then we revisit it today. So my feeling was like, oh, okay, well, clearly this is the deal.
This is how it's supposed to be.
Yeah. And I was like, all right, okay, I'm good. I can see that. And it worked. I liked it. I thought it was really good.
There was one thing about this episode that they didn't exactly finish.
What?
And that was, I can't remember his name. The guy that appeared again on the television. He said the tables don't do that.
The Rogue. Right.
We don't know why.
So, okay.
There was things burning around him.
I think.
Or do you now know?
I haven't looked it up. And I know, by the way, I know nothing about whether or not the show is renewed. I don't know anything about if it's continuing. I know nothing. I'm assuming even if Disney doesn't continue with it, although they should, I believe that BBC obviously is going to do something because you don't sit here and present and do what they did at the end, which we will get to. We'll talk about that ending. Trust me. Without having some sort of because they've clearly set up there is more to come. Mm-hmm. And I feel, and not just that, I have a feeling Russell T Davies is coming back, so he'll be back for a third season, clearly, because you have the time lady say, but you have the time lady, the lady who's in the hallway, who in the hotel, who says, oh, by the way, they say hi, the boss says hi. Mm-hmm. So who's the boss? And what does that have to do with the Rogue? Potentially, we have the boss to wrap up.
Okay.
We have because the boss was brought up by the Meeps. Okay, the Meep brought up the boss, the big boss, whatever, which I don't believe was Sutek. I believe the boss is someone else that we haven't seen yet.
Right.
And now we get our second. This is very RTD. So in the very first season, RTD season, there was that bad wolf. Right,
I remember that. Yeah.
Second season, constant references to Torchwood, and eventually you had, and so each thing plays into what these kind of these pieces that all come together eventually. I think the same thing with this.
Hi, bud.
I think the same thing's gonna happen with this. I think we're gonna get we have to find out who the boss is, and
all right. So who do you think it is?
I don't know.
No guesses or anything like that.
Well, because the Ronnie was interesting. The Ronnie's still out there. I find that to be honestly one of the most fascinating parts of all this is the Ronnie is still out there. Very rarely do we get an enemy of the Doctors that just gets to continue being out there. What about I did love the fact that the hotel lady gets to as she goes through, you get to see her visiting the Doctor in the past.
Yeah, that was so cool. And we saw her with Matt Smith's character,
right, doing the chess.
Yes,
we saw back in the third Doctor's era. We get to see the whole idea about him with the Daleks.
Yep,
and you get to see, again, you just get to see that she's been peeking in on him in the past all this time,
trying to find him.
Right, to check on him if nothing else, make sure he's okay. Which I thought was pretty cool. The Belinda and Doctor connection. That did.
I mean, again, I really loved this season, but that I felt that was just weird. Not weird in a bad.
Yeah, no, I got you.
I shouldn't say weird. It was just very different than I think is what we're used to.
He was somehow. He became the father of a child, and Belinda was the mother. And we're just supposed to be okay with that. My other question. I said this to you when it was happening.
Is it because they both wish to be parents?
I don't know. No clue.
That was my draw. No, that was my conclusion.
No, it was Conrad. Remember, because Conrad's world, and I love the fact that Conrad mentions we're all over the road, forgive me. When Ruby faces Conrad. Mm-hmm. First off, call back to the teleport jacket from way back in the David Tennant era. That was the one when Martha had used the teleport.
Yeah, that was the I backpack. Forgot that's where I'm like, this isn't the first time. Now I see, and I should have leaned over and be like, we've seen this before.
Yeah, no, totally. That was where the backpack came from. And so then after the backpack, she goes to Conrad, and while she's talking to Conrad, he's like, I did what the Doctor said. People just want to be safe and want to feel like, and so he created his version of normal,
right?
His version of a normal world. And then Ruby does a really nice thing and says, "I just want you to be happy."
Right. I wish for you to be happy.
That's right. So then,
and it's funny because I figured that the rest of those wishes were, or the rest of the, like, so much the world. Yes, he built the world, but like he built the world and the wishes. Does that make sense?
Well, it was the wish baby who's the MacGuffin, because we never ever deal with the whole who the wish baby is.
But we'll be able to see Joseph again.
Joseph Sunday. Joe Sunday. I feel like you don't give a name like Joe Sunday and not revisit that character as either an adult or something down the road.
Right.
Something. Also, we're clearly going to visit Belinda at some point in the future again.
Absolutely.
Possibly with a grown-up Poppy, which I think would be cool. Mm-hmm. How about the return of 13?
That was so cool. I got whiplash when because I was sitting forward at the time when that happened. I went,
I was like,
and you're
what?
Like, and I go, did you see that
and
coming?
The dog had to go out so bad that you had to get up there. And I'm like, oh my God, pause it. What are you doing? It's like, how do you do that? How do you get up right now? And I was like, oh, because one, I maintain Jodie Whittaker got the short end of the stick. Okay,
I do too.
I think she had a poorly written season. I think she was an amazing doctor who never got a chance to truly be amazing. Mm-hmm. So seeing her take her place within the legacy, especially when she got to do the whole "you redecorated, I don't like it" thing,
which was she was very backhanded compliments.
Brilliant. Well, that's also a thing the Doctor every time a doctor sees the new TARDIS for the future version of themselves, they're always like, "you redecorated, I don't like it." All of them. And I thought it was great because it's one of those characteristics that stayed from the old series back in the 70s. I feel like seeing her, and then he makes the joke. He's like, oh, thank God I thought it was the other guy. He always pops up. And talking about David Tennant, I was like, right on, man. That was a good call. I loved seeing her.
I actually thought we were going to see him again because there was just so much going on. Like, it wouldn't surprise, especially then they bring out Jodie Whittaker. I'm like, oh, well, then we definitely are going to see David Tennant, and we didn't.
Well, he has recently said, not that I trust anything actors say when it comes to if there are or aren't in things.
Any Doctor Who actors
no,
or actresses.
for sure. But he has said he goes, I'm taking a break. I don't think I'm going to revisit Doctor Who for a while. And it's not with any kind of recrimination. I think he's just genuinely, he's like, I'm good. We've tapped that well a little too much at this point. We're going to let it relax, let it ride. You know who we haven't seen that I'm totally down for seeing?
Matt Smith.
Totally. Bro,
Maybe they'll lean on him and be like, okay, so David Tennant.
get your hair
Dave
in
over
Let's
here.
go. Get that floppy hair with no eyebrows.
Well, he's
in
been
here.
doing, let's be for real. He's been doing House of the
I
Dragon.
know. He's doing great.
And he's doing really good in House of the Dragon.
He is. But yeah, so we got to see Jodie, who I thought was great. I love that cameo. I thought it was wonderful. I thought she did a great job. I like the fact that it's funny. This is very RTD. She got a chance to say, he's like, I love that. He said, hey, I love you. And so in that moment, I saw it as how often do we get to tell ourselves we love ourselves?
Oh, that's
and
interesting.
This is him being the healthy doctor.
That's
the one who's post-trauma. The one who knows, who's in touch with his emotions, who knows how to deal with the stuff he's been through, who's processed through everything, who gets to see her and say, him as a younger person, and say, hey, love yourself. I love you. It's okay. Mm-hmm. And that's why, like, oh, we don't talk like that normally. He's like, I should say, and then she says, I should tell Yaz that, which I was like, screw you people.
And he's like, you won't.
Yeah, because the relationship, that's one of those, that was a will they won't they relationship that everybody always thought should have happened more fully in the series. And I was like, okay, whatever. But then, then we get to the very end. No, before we even get to the end, screw that. I'm backing up.
Where are we going with this?
Let's talk about Ruby. Ruby, so everything's done. They save the universe. They open up the zero room. Poppy's there with Belinda. And then Ruby witnesses as the doctor and Belinda are talking about where they're going to take Ruby first. Where they're going to show her. It's their daughter together, so they're very parenty. Mm-hmm. And they're passing her jacket back and forth.
And it's
you noticed first.
I'm like, it's getting smaller.
And I was like, what? And you're like, oh my god.
And then it looked
she's
like one of those
smaller.
little tiny little handkerchiefs.
And then it was gone as they're back
Yes.
and forth. And I was like, what? And then she looks, she's like, and the cot is empty.
Millie Gibson did an amazing. She wanted to make sure that she felt like everybody else was crazy. She did a really good job in this episode.
She did wonderful. And the fact that she didn't quit. She was like, it's just, and then she chose, and then rather than being just angry, she chose to outmath them. Okay, so you tell me there was cracks in the universe like what happened before, like the this, like the that, like the other, remember? And they're like, yeah. He's like, so maybe I'm not crazy. Maybe my memory is also right here, just like it was right there. Yeah. And they were like, and everybody was like, okay, let's give her the benefit of the doubt.
Well, we also thought that he knew that Poppy
did something away, because again, remember,
it was the wink.
I hate to say it. I feel like I'm always judging Ncuti Gatwa's ability to act. Mm-hmm. And I kind of am. Because he keeps acting like Ncuti Gatwa. He always felt, 15 has always felt like he was, like the Doctor regenerated into that actor, not that actor's playing the Doctor.
I see, yeah.
So it was very difficult for me. So he was behaving as if he knew, but was purposely trying to hint to Ruby, it's okay, leave it alone. Like he knew it was going to happen.
Right.
Which, based on everything we know from the Doctor, that's plausible.
Right.
There's many times he knows the truth, but it's just easier to let people.
Because what are the rules? The Doctor always lies.
The Doctor lies. First rule. Mm-hmm. Has to, So yeah, that part was interesting. I thought they handled Ruby well. I think again, her mom's going to be raising the wish baby who's no longer gives wishes. So yeah, it's Joe Sunday. But now, okay, so let's go to the ending. So the Doctor regenerates, which, by the way, there was all kinds of rumors that the Ncuti was leaving the show, but nobody confirmed anything yet because they had
to wait for this to come out.
They didn't want to damage this, I'm sure.
Because not only, first of all, I think ratings would have gone down.
Agreed.
People have been like, well, I don't know, why am I bothering then?
Yeah.
But then they have to say who's going to replace him.
Right.
And who's replacing him, dear?
Billie Piper.
Aren't you excited?
Billie Piper showed up. And the first thing that you and I had to clarify, and I do think this is the case, this is not Rose Tyler showing up.
No, it's not.
This is, for some crazy reason, the Doctor's regeneration has chosen Rose's face.
Right. And we know that because in Peter Capaldi's Doctor, when he chose the face of the Roman Guard,
Yeah. The woman, whatever, the
nobleman,
salesperson,
the nobleman,
whatever,
I said call him, the nobleman,
right?
Because it was an honest face. It was so that's why he chose that face,
right? So we know that that's a thing. That when Time Lords regenerate, freaking Time Lords regenerate. Hold on, Time Lords are sterile.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
I have to go back and look in the archives and see if that's information from pre-2005 that I maybe never knew, but I've never heard that ever. I've always seriously.
But we also never hear of Time Lord babies either anymore.
But the Doctor has talked about the fact that he's had children. Now, I don't know if they meant that metaphorically. If he's always been like, I've had, because remember
they now mean it metaphorically.
He's been a parent before, is what he said, and that's what David Tennant's character said. He's been a parent, and so I'm just finding myself wondering, like, what does it all mean? Like, what's going on? And especially because now we're going into this thing with. So my question is this thing real? Or is this going to be another David Tennant thing where Billie Piper is going to be through the Christmas special and then a series of specials, and then they're going to finally name a real new?
I think Billie Piper has been through the Doctor Who universe enough to be able to play the Doctor.
I think what's great is you're going to get to see her portray, one, the Doctor's mind.
Mm-hmm.
Two, the crazy angstiness of the Doctor having to look in the mirror and see that face. Because remember, the character of Rose is in a parallel dimension, gone. She has her version of 10, she's gone.
Yep.
So this is definitely our Doctor with a new face.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting to see how that's going to be interpreted, how that's going to be understood, what's going to happen with it. How is she going to handle being? I think there was always rumors that the next Doctor was going to be a woman. I think a lot of people were like, "He's making a black woman," like whatever. But I feel like it's interesting. I find myself interested, and very, very much my interest is piqued.
And I didn't care for Jodie Whittaker's Doctor. Not many people did, so I think that's why.
Yeah. For me, it was because of the writing, but yes, I hear you.
No, and I think that's probably why I didn't like it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we tried watching it together, we're like, meh.
Yeah, it was hard. It was difficult. Well, even when I finally did watch it for the sake of having had that information in my head, I watched it finally. I watched it all the way through Flux, and because I wanted to get to because I knew, spoiler, that Jodie Whittaker becomes 14. 14 was going to be David Tennant.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, well, how the heck did you get there? So I had
you had to go all the way back to see. Sure, that makes sense.
I finished up Whittaker's era. I watched the Flux, which is the special thing. I saw all the things because, again, I needed context. So, but yeah, I'm interested to see where do you think it's going to go?
I think she does play the Doctor. I really do. I think she does play the Doctor. And if that's the case, we could. This is going to sound so feminist, but because the one woman Doctor that they did have got like the short end of the stick on it, it'd be nice that then with Russell T Davies writing this, and he's written for Billie Piper before.
Sure.
I think we'll have a very strong female Doctor.
I think so too. I think it'd be good.
If this is truly going to be the Doctor, I'm really excited about this.
Yeah, I would love to see. Now that we've had, because everyone was like, let's get a season without Daleks, without whatever. I would love to see the Daleks and have them be confused by the fact that it's Rose Tyler's face. Like who's?
Oh
like,
my gosh, yes.
Like have the Doctor use the fact that they look like Rose now.
Yes.
To be like, oh yeah, no, I don't know, whatever, blah blah. You know what I mean? And even do like a crazy like interpretation of how Rose used to talk.
We didn't get any of the regular monsters and bad guys that we. And I think I kind of missed that.
I did too, except that that's one thing I loved about Russell. Russell always had really unique takes on Doctor Who in terms of the storytelling. I know one thing. This was a very alien and otherworld centric Doctor Who season.
Right.
It's normally very Earth based, and I feel like, and there was obviously their fair share of earthy stuff, but I feel like the fact they got to go to space stations and do things and out.
That was kind of cool.
I liked it. I really liked it.
Now we can still keep doing that, but let's just put all the bad people back in there, or all the bad.
Can I just say, can we just get an outfit, please? Give me a Doctor outfit. I feel like Chudi's. Yes, the orange jacket is going to be probably the thing that most people
because
lean on.
It was the first.
And right, and it's something that was revisited a couple of times, or possibly even this jean striped skirt outfit.
It'll be the
outfit.
two, yeah. It'll be.
But
the
I
two.
feel like give me. I just need Billie Piper to pick an outfit, pick a lane, stay in it, and give her Doctor N a personality.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let her Doctor be defined by the fact that it's Billie Piper. You know, even though that is technically a part of its definition, but make it interesting. And I think Russell can. I think Russell will make it very interesting. What is going on? Why do I have this face? What happened?
Right.
Like, let that be part of the initial mystery of this all. Let that be like, I got to figure out why this is what's going on. Why do I look like this?
Yeah.
You know, an event even to the point of I'd love it if he came back and visited Belinda or visited anybody with this. Face.
I was to say, I think that would be great for Belinda to see.
It really would.
To see the Doctor as Rose. That would be awesome. And I really hope that if it does become the Doctor, I hope that Ruby. We're gonna have to revisit Joe Sunday. I mean, I don't think Ruby's completely gone. Did Millie Gibson say that's it? We're gone. I'm out of here too.
I think she's already got something else lined up.
Oh, that's a shame.
I will say this: I would love, and they might think it's too late. Revisit the Doctor's daughter. By that I mean, remember the blonde girl who David Tennant when David Tennant was cloned and whatever else, and they birthed a new Time Lady.
Yeah.
Revisit her. Now, I think you start it with that actress who's actually David Tennant's wife in real life.
Yes.
You start it with her, and very early in the episode, like have her start it, have her run, have them encounter each other, and have her die and regenerate. Then now you have a new character. And for a while, just give us for once the Doctor's daughter traveling together. No, it's not David Tennant and what's her face.
But it's still the Doctor.
But it would be wonderful.
Yeah.
Because he has did nothing but get heartache after heartache seeing one-time person, the evil master, evil Ronnie, blah, 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 blah. Just give the guy someone to identify with for 2 seconds. Or gal in this case.
A gal in this case, yeah.
You know, whatever. Just like I'm super hopeful. Understand, I told you, my first review ever on a channel that doesn't exist anymore was my reaction to the announcement of Jodie Whittaker, to the point that the BBC contacted me and used it as part of their intro package.
You showed me that, yeah.
I love that moment. I'm excited for what this could mean, mainly because I also love Billie Piper. I love the legacy that Billie Piper brings. I think between RTD, between Billie Piper, because here's the thing: if it's nostalgia bait, I'm here for it, man. I don't care.
Right.
The hashtag RIP Doctor Who people can go F themselves. I don't care. I am down. I am down for this. I'm excited for this. This season fed everything I've wanted from an RTD season. Last season felt messy. RTD first season 1 of Judy's era.
He was getting his feet wet too. Maybe
I agree.
writing for him. I think you've always said that sometimes you have to learn how to. Well, Peter Capaldi's silence. Listen. Silence.
No, listen was you're right. That's the first.
That
episode.
was when he got his
They
his
wrote it
footing
for him.
Yeah.
The first 2
Not
episodes
about
of the
him.
season, that was episode 3 of his first series. The first 2 episodes had been written prior to him even being cast. They were written for the Doctor.
Right.
And they figured characterization would come later. And it kind of did. But Listen was the first episode written where they're like, oh, Peter Capaldi's the Doctor. This is how he's playing the Doctor. Let's write this like this, and it's brilliant, and he comes to life in a way that I remember I was like, this is gonna suck, this sucks, I was not happy. Listen shows up and I'm like, okay, I'm here for this, and it was brilliant. I feel like this season 2 of Ncuti's season, even though we hardly had much time because of the number of episodes, and that's still a hindrance that I believe
really is.
But I think they need to write. There's a way to jigger your thinking and just write to the shorter episodes.
What
spans.
if they were? If they're going to have less episodes, can they do longer episodes?
So my thought is, and not longer episodes as much as, and I've heard several other reviewers say something like this online, and I do think this is the best course of action. Just tell us a longer, protracted story. back in the day, back in the first Doctor, second Doctor, third, those eras, stories would be they would be serials. So you'd get 5-6 episodes of one adventure, and it was perfectly fine. Do that. If it's going to be 8 episodes, then make it
do small 2
4.
maybe four ones.
Maybe a early 2-parter or an early 2-parter that kind of builds on, introduces everything. And then it goes into whatever the adventure is for the remaining 5 episodes. And now you're like, oh, okay, this is the MacGuffin-y adventure thing we're on.
Right.
Totally fine, because by virtue of doing that, you're still kind of having these small adventure episodes as you go, because you're chasing the thing. Oh, this thing is taking me to this planet. Well, then while we're here, can we find out about the thing? Well, yes, but we're dealing with this other thing. Okay, fine. We'll help you with this as a side quest. So you know what I mean?
As a side quest, I like that.
And you're still getting what you're getting, but you're still following the major storyline. It's the fastest way to keep cohesion and ultimately teach us something and learn the story along the way.
Along the way, yeah, sure.
The good part is with Billie Piper's casting. I don't know if it's short term. I don't know if it's long term. No idea. But there's kind of a shorthand. You don't have to explain who Billie Piper is to us. Not normally.
Right.
Obviously, new fans, you may have to do a little bit of that bridge jumping. But part of the exploration overall is just going to be the Doctor trying to figure out why this face exists.
I was going to say, it's just literally the face, and they'll do a couple flashback scenes, I think, and that would be it.
But for the most part, you don't have to really introduce. I didn't, aside from Ncuti Gatwa being in Sex Education, I did not know much about, or not Sex Education, although I think he was in that too. But in the other show with What's-Her-Face, with Zendaya, besides being in that show, I don't know anything about the actor person.
I don't either.
So I had to really begin to understand who they were to understand who they were trying to make the Doctor.
Right, right.
And then Jodie Whittaker, I did do a little bit of research on. I knew where she had come from. I understood Peter Capaldi's connection. I got it going backward. I think, and again,
I think David Tennant really loved Rose, so I think
it's going to be a good exploration for them.
Mm-hmm.
I think you have.
That's
I
why
think you're going to have to at some point. Whether it's the first or the second episode, you're going to have to do something internally with the Doctor's mind, where the Doctor has to face, with this new Rose face David Tennant's face and be like, why? Why did we pick this face?
And I just answered that. It was because he really did love her.
Agreed.
With both his hearts.
That's what I mean. Like, you're going to have to
now,
have that
mind you,
moment.
this is the healed. Now, Ncuti Gatwa was the one that was the healed, the happy one. So why wouldn't he take the face of a happier time?
Or maybe almost like saying, I don't have to hide from this face anymore.
Yeah. Oh, I like that even more. So if they were smart during the Christmas special, since David Tennant's taking a step back, I mean, because I think we have another season of Good Omens too.
I think it's either
as a special.
It's either a 3-hour movie or a 3-episode mini thing or just something. It's
well,
short.
You know what I mean? He's got to do publicity for that and everything. I mean, he's got other things going on, but they should.
Cameos are never a problem. I think you do. Like, they didn't announce when Jodie Whittaker's finale happened that they had several of the. I think they had the 5th. Yeah, they had the 5th Doctor, the 7th Doctor. They had several different other Doctors that hadn't had screen time yet. They had them show up in the Doctor's memory. Jodie had to face them.
Right.
And I feel like that's okay. That's a good place. I
think he should come back to do one of those cameos. Is like even some, as he's looking at.
Even in the mirror, have this Doctor have to be like looking in a mirror and then be like, why did we pick this face? What's going on? What's happening here? You know what I mean? Or like you said, maybe they go back and visit. And at Donna's house, you see David Tennant come out and be like, "What do you do?" And it's like, no. This is not what you think.
I'm not Rose.
No, this is me. I'm you.
I'm you.
Like, show the new Sonic, whatever Sonic she has.
They better give her a regular screwdriver.
I wanted to have a cool one. I wanted to have the Ronnie's. The Ronnie Sonic was dope.
Yeah,
Wasn't that cool?
was.
The little purple stone. I was like, dude.
I saw the purple. I was like, that's for me.
As soon as they come out with that accessory, you're like, I
want that.
Yeah, for sure.
I think we're gonna have to revisit Mrs. Flood being the Ronnie as well now.
I hate Mrs. Flood. Why does she matter?
She only matters now because she's the Ronnie.
I know. Golly, I hate her so much.
What was your favorite What was your favorite? You didn't tell me what your favorite.
From this season?
Yeah. Wow, this is...
Well, because I meant it. I rewatched all these. So, half the time when you're in there listening to your podcast and I'm I'll put stuff on the screen and I'll just have it there as background noise because I liked this. This felt like Doctor Who home for me, or I wanted to be with it. I'm really happy about that. Boy, that's a great question. I have to think about
think the reason, the reason why I liked it was the Interstellar one was because we got real emotion out of the Doctor. Not that they weren't real emotions before.
No, I hear you though.
But it was a different emotion than what we were very much used to.
So
Can I tell you what I think yours is?
Go ahead.
I think it's the one with the mirrors.
The well?
The well, yeah. How did I do?
I'm looking at them right now. I think you're right. I think I really enjoyed. I think the well for me felt like RTD at his best. It had shades of some of the best stuff in the past. Again, as I've said many times in my reviews, this season really was RTD sings the hits.
Oh.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I tried to make that so quiet.
No, you're good.
It didn't work.
No, you're good. But I feel like this season was RTD plays the hits. It was constant. It was, anyways. And so I liked that episode. The well had all the good things and that I was ready for.
Now, and that was the third episode or fourth?
It was third. It was the third.
Okay, so
Lucky Day was the fourth. That's where we get Conrad.
So this is where. Oh yeah.
Yeah, Conrad was in Lucky Day.
Oh.
Remember, it was the out of the blue. It was the Dr. Light episode that barely had him in it at all.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. You're absolutely right. Sorry, my brain
No,
went.
you're good.
I was just so excited. I liked last week's and I liked this week's.
You thought I was going to say Lux, didn't you? The cartoon one?
I did.
No,
and I'm like, why would you do that to me?
I'm not going to say
I will eventually watch that.
It wasn't bad. It was good. It was a fine episode. It was fine. It was the villain hardly matters. He really does. He hardly matters. Kind of like the Wish Baby. Like, I feel that's the one thing I will feel like. I'm like, Russell, really? Russ. Buddy.
Wow. Now it's Russ.
Buddy. Why start this fantastical pantheon thing only to not resolve it genuinely?
You know, the only thing I remember from last season is, and see, it's gone already.
Was it the really bad social media racist episode?
That was actually
racism allegory episode?
That was actually a pretty cool one.
I like that one too, funny enough. Even though I think it's so terrible in terms of the how heavy-handed the messaging was.
Oh, he was very.
Not because it had messaging, I don't care about that. But just like it's felt so like shoehorned in at times. Mm-hmm. Anyways, but whatever. You can go back and see my review on that. All right. Well, listen, this is getting pretty long, and normally we don't do these.
We don't do them that long.
But this is getting podcast length.
Oh.
So like seriously, we're at like 40 minutes. I ultimately I think that I'll give my score in the standalone episode. What?
You will not leave me hanging.
Oh no, for me this episode, honestly.
Episode? No, I want the series from you. Me and you series. That's what we do.
Okay, no, that's fair. Okay. I think this series gets a 9 out of 10 for me. This season gets
this
a 9 out of 10 for me, yeah.
What did you give last season?
Oh God,
oh, it was low.
I think this season.
I think we both gave it a 7 last season.
Yeah, I think so.
But I was going to give it a 9 as well, and I think it might have been a 10 had I probably seen the cartoon one. No, I'm kidding. It might have been a 9.5. No, it was. I really did enjoy this. So.
Right on. I did too.
And I'm really digging these end of series or end of season reviews that I do. Not reviews, but discussions that I do.
Sure. No, for sure. So, all right, well, there you go. Now you know. If knowing's half the battle, you're halfway being know-it-all yourself. I'm really glad you guys got to watch this with us. Again, go watch my my individual review where I really get into the critiquing of the things. And I'm not really, again, I'm not going to be harsh. This episode absolutely, for me, validated last one. Because last one I had very harsh criticisms for, and I gave it like a 6.5 out of 10. I was not happy with it.
9 was like an 8.
No, I know. And I told everybody you liked it.
I loved it.
Yeah. But overall, though,
maybe because it was my birthday, too.
My opinion, only my opinion, this stuck the landing for this season.
It really did. And I know I agree with you. It really did.
Yeah.
And you know what? I will say I do understand where your frustrations were.
Sure.
When it came to last week's versus this week's, I get it. But I was just like, that was excitement for me.
Sure.
Where it was like frustration, I think, for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll just take it like that.
I know, totally. There's nothing really much more to add to that.
Okay.
Comment below. Let me know what you guys thought. Would love to hear your take on all of this. Did you like where the season resolved itself? Are you looking forward to what's coming next, or do you think it's sort of a cheap sort of get to have Rose brought in, or the face of Billie Piper rather brought in? I will point this out. It said Ncuti Gatwa is the Doctor, Jodie Whittaker is the Doctor, and introducing Billie Piper. In the past, you can look this up.
I know.
They've always said introducing such and such as the Doctor. This only said introducing Billie Piper.
Which tells me she's probably only in it for maybe the specials.
Or the Christmas special and something else. Who knows? Possibly. But while they potentially cast who the next Doctor is.
It's very possible.
That's what I'm getting my heart set for. I'm not setting my heart on the idea that she's going to be around the whole thing for the next 2 years or whatever. I'm very much of the mindset this is a single one-off, so it's Christmas special. Which they haven't announced.
Right.
So I'm thinking it's going to be a Christmas special, possibly another 2 or 3 specials if they do more specials. I would love it if she continued.
Yeah.
I would love it to see her for a solid, decent run as one of the Doctors. We'll see if it happens or not. So would love to hear your thoughts on all this. And yeah, man, that's all I got. We'll talk to you again real soon. Never forget.
Everyone loves a know-it-all.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.